on 3 Pillars at 3pillars.org.
Tune in to KBN every day at 2 o'clock. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
The game is over.
Love looking downfield, lofting to the end zone. It's Jacob with the catch. Oh, my goodness. What a grab by the running back.
And it's the day after.
It's easy. I think we got a connected team, and I think I know how our guys will respond, and we got a great test coming up. You know, going to Chicago, a game that went down to the wire last time we played, and you know, obviously they rolled today, so it's to go back on top of the division. So I know we're going to get their best, and they're going to get our best.
Let's react to the game and look ahead. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios. Here's Greg Matzek and Josh DiMaggio.
Welcome into another Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Greg and Josh DiMaggio with you from Potawatomi Sportsbook. Beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook Monday Night Football tonight. It's the Steelers and Dolphins, a game that likely forgettable here, but the over-under at Potawatomi Sportsbook is 44. Josh DiMaggio in for Gary Ellerson, who is out today. He is still sickened by the loss, and the loss is that the Packers encountered in Denver yesterday, both on the field in terms of the final score and in the war of attrition. Packers also losing several players due to injury. We'll get through the details of that. Always love to have you as part of the program here. We'll take you till 8 o'clock tonight. And hopefully now, Josh, 24 hours removed roughly from the Packers' loss in Denver, put last night into perspective, because there's a lot of emotional reaction. Anytime you lose a game like that, you lose ground in the playoffs, you lose ground in the standings. You're now the 7 seed, occupying the final spot in the NFC, with 3 games to play, plenty in front of the Packers, no doubt. But the road made a little more bumpy given the loss of Micah Parsons and the questionable nature of Christian Watson and Zach Tom. There's a lot to unpack here, a lot of emotional reaction today. We'll try and put it all in perspective here tonight.
Yeah, I think the playoffs are well within the Packers' future. I think it's probably more likely than not by the numbers. But I do think any aspirations of a Super Bowl victory, a Super Bowl appearance, we saw lost last night in the late third quarter when Micah Parsons went down. We've seen this Packers team before. Last season, this defense, they were fine. They were good. They had some trouble getting off the field, kind of like they did this season, even with Micah Parsons. I think that we've gotten to a point now where you can count them out from reaching the highs. They're not going to be able to beat a team like the Rams, in my opinion. I think that a team like the Seattle Seahawks may give them a very rough go. I felt like I watched the season effectively end there for, as we know, it's Titletown. We're Packers fans. Super Bowls are always the expectation, and it felt like that was sort of dashed all yesterday. And what was a great game up until the injury started.
If you're a fan of football, you're watching that game, and you're not moving away.
No.
Right? Is there too many good things happening?
Yes.
And yes, I think from a game watching, game enjoyment standpoint, remove your fandom, you're locked into that game.
Yes.
It's two of the better teams in the league.
It was a Super Bowl preview to me. Like that and sure, one of them might not have made it. It's the playoffs, whatever. But those are two teams that clearly looked good enough to be there.
It would not have been a surprise, right? Going into last night's game, you look at those teams and say they're on the short list of teams that could see each other in the Super Bowl. All right, so Denver continues their hot streak. The last time the Denver Broncos lost a football game, the Brewers wrapped up the NL Central Division. Just think about that for a second. Pretty wild. The Packers, with that loss, what happened to the Packers yesterday in terms of the standings is exactly what happened to the Bears the week prior, right? You go from on top of the world here in the NFC North, and at that time, actually, the Bears were the number 1 seed in the NFC, to the number 7 seed.
Yep.
So now it's role reversal. The Packers are where the Bears were last week, and one win over the division rival on Saturday night puts the Packers back on top of the division with 2 games to play. Baltimore and Minnesota, which has become a very difficult team to figure out. They looked like the worst team in football for 2 weeks, and now look like they're among the better teams in the NFC in the last couple of weeks. We'll dive into that matchup and the rest of the schedule coming up here. Was trying to figure out yesterday, in watching the game, which loss was most significant. Was it Parsons? Was it Zach Tom? Was it Christian Watson? And I settled on Watson being the most significant of the losses for the Packers yesterday, because the defense was not exactly having a day.
Yeah.
Right? The impact of Micah Parsons' loss, I think, is the most significant loss the Packers will sustain this year, bar none.
Right.
But in terms of that game,
yes,
I think the loss of Christian Watson hurt them most significantly.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. In a vacuum, that game changed the moment he went out. And I thought that was pretty obvious. It seemed like the passing offense sort of really hit a skid once that changed.
It was insane, right? Jordan Love was clipping against that Denver defense. The pass rush was rendered useless. They were concentrating on Watson, who I believe is the top name on the scouting report for opposing defenses. You just have to contribute additional resources to slowing him down, whether it's additional help on the back end or just, not putting guys up toward the line of scrimmage to stop the run. With Watson out, you probably go to Josh Jacobs as the lead on your scouting report, and then you design a scheme to slow him down. But with Watson, it becomes very difficult. Jordan Love passed for a career best and a half, 215 yards in the first half of yesterday's game. 5 drives that yielded points, consecutive drives. Maybe not as many touchdowns as you would have liked, but nonetheless, they scored on 5 straight drives. And after the Josh Jacobs 40-yard touchdown, had a relatively commanding 23-14 lead. At that point, it looked like the Packers were unstoppable. They had turned a turnover into points. And even if Denver was going to try and play the keep-up game, it felt like the Packers had enough in the tank. The injury to Watson happens, and you're talking about a dramatic dip in offensive productivity. 55 yards total gained on their subsequent drives. Interceptions, downs, turnovers, right? I mean, it was a mess to try and get things going, with several chances to tie that game late.
Yeah, I think what we've seen Christian Watson bloom into is sort of a force multiplier of sorts on the offense. His speed and his ability to get open is a rare skill, and it is a skill that can single-handedly take over a game. We know that explosive plays and big chunk plays are the single most important stat on offense when it comes to scoring points and having a successful day. Without that factor, you sort of have to change your approach. You have to look for other guys to step up and, frankly, look for guys who haven't been able to prove it that will be able to do those things. Christian Watson, to me, I thought the reports today were good and give you some optimism that maybe even if we don't see him this week, we will see him in the near future. And it didn't look as, when we heard hospital, I think we all started to really worry about what might have happened. But the ability for him to, the greatest example is who was on him for the majority of the game. Last year's Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not a mistake, and that wasn't happenstance. He was following him across the field. He didn't on every single play, but there was a reason you saw Patrick Surtain near or around Christian Watson so often, because they knew how important it was. He made that incredible play on the interception that he got. You can say, I've heard a lot of people talk about it being a little bit of an underthrow. That's still, there's very few guys in the NFL who make that sort of play. So Watson's speed and ability to stretch the field makes life easier in the run game. It makes it easier for guys like Romeo Doubs. It makes it easier for Wicks and Golden and Luke Musgrave. Everybody else benefits from it, and I think Jordan Love does as well. And once that happened, I think what happened on the defensive side is they committed more towards the rush. They were less worried about getting deep. They said, well, these guys could beat us, but I don't think they're going to. I trust our defensive backs to stop Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Ontavian Wicks, and as we saw, that was the right move.
So the reporting on Watson, according to ESPN's Rob Domofsky, is that he was taken to the hospital during yesterday's game for a chest injury, and it was later added a shoulder to that mix. I thought shoulder from the start and was hoping against a separation or a broken clavicle or something along that line. And the chest injury was just to make sure that there was nothing wrong with his lungs. So it's just kind of scary stuff if you think about it. But he ends up traveling back with the team, not considered to be a long-term issue, but still unclear if he'll be on the field on Saturday. Keep in mind, it's a little bit shorter of a week than usual against the Chicago Bears. But Watson's presence on the field is significant to the Packers being able to put up the kind of points I think they're going to need to put up to win games here down the stretch. And I do think they're going to need to win 2 out of 3 to get into the playoffs. We'll take a deeper dive into that coming up because there is a possibility that an 11-win team is left out of the playoffs here, which is insane to think about. And you really hope it's not the Green Bay Packers in that situation. The loss of Zach Tom is another interesting one to follow. And I had somebody talking to me today about the loss of Tom and how the game really changed. And it showed up down the stretch when Zach Tom was ushered out of the game due to a knee injury. I still think the Watson injury was more impactful overall. You're talking about the loss of Zach Tom and what does he do best? Well, he's really good in all facets of offensive line play, run blocking, pass blocking, and so on. It just got to be such an obvious pass situation for the Packers at the end that I don't know if even Zach Tom and his ability could have slowed down the onslaught and avalanche of pass rushers that were getting after Jordan Love.
It's funny you mentioned that. A former great right tackle, Brian Blaga, was on with Homer just earlier, and he said, in those situations where that team knows you're passing, you're on the road, in unfriendly territory, even the best offensive lines are going to have a rough time. And I thought his replacement, Darian Kennard, played fairly well. It's just at some point, those guys are going to win. They're getting paid too, and they're very good. There's a reason they lead the NFL in sacks. It's just when you pin your ears back and you don't have to worry about anything else on offense, those guys are going to have success.
Packers are a beat-up team. You think about their losses and what they've been able to overcome. You lose Tucker Kraft, and you're thinking, oh boy, that can't be a Super Bowl team without Tucker Kraft. And then Christian Watson emerges with 5 touchdowns in 4 games, and you're thinking, wait a minute now. They have adapted. This offense has taken flight, and the importance of Watson is underscored. Well, they lost Dalton Jenkins. Certainly this offensive line is going to be mincemeat the rest of the season. Well, even the offensive line stabilized over the last couple of weeks prior to the game against Denver. The Packers, again, found a way to respond. The loss of Devontae Wyatt may be too early to tell if the Packers can stand up against the rush, but they did against Chicago in a win, right? And really, Denver didn't have much to speak of with their running game yesterday, but were very effective with the pass. The loss of Wyatt, I think, still stings, but I don't think he's the reason why you'd think the Packers can't reach the Super Bowl. You lose Zach Tom, and it becomes a little more difficult. You lose Micah Parsons, and to underscore your initial point, I think that is the Super Bowl death blow. The loss of Micah Parsons. The Packers have never won a Super Bowl without a top 5 defense. This defense goes down several notches. Who benefits from Parsons being on the field? Well, everybody.
Yes.
Including the secondary. And now I think all of a sudden the secondary gets put back into their position of, well, wait a minute now, these guys weren't great to begin with. They were buoyed by Parsons. Do they have enough in the tank to shut down some of these teams with great passing attacks, like the Rams, as you mentioned, or with great offensive minds, like the San Francisco 49ers? Who can guard Jackson Smith and Jigba if you get into a playoff matchup with Seattle? So you start to see that path to a championship become much more significant. I do think the Packers are going to reach the playoffs, but I'm not confident about their ability once they reach the postseason to really make a serious run at this thing.
Yeah, no, I think they certainly can win. It's any given Sunday. It's the NFL. We've seen Matt LaFleur backed into a corner in improbable situations, pull out some of the most impressive game plans where everything is working. Jordan Love performing the way. I mean, we saw Dontavian Wicks take over a game from the pass catchers. It's certainly a possibility, but the going on the road or having to win multiple games all in a row against that level of competition. They deemed Micah Parsons the closer, and now you don't have a closer. It's going to be tough to close out teams and to keep teams off the scoreboard if you're not having your best offensive day every single day.
Yeah, you look for that suitable replacement, right? Somebody goes down. Who are your options? Who can you build around here, right? So, in a 1-game stretch, you could probably come up with something that works, and then that's on tape, and
Cooper,
maybe it doesn't work the next week.
Right.
And there really is no substitute for Micah Parsons. I mean, Rashawn Gary doesn't have a sack or a quarterback pressure in
6 weeks.
I don't know how long here, right? I mean, we're going on 6-7 weeks or so.
Yep.
So not a great situation there. I don't think the return of Lucas Van Ness really tips the scales that much in the Packers' favor, though I think it's better to have him back than not. That's how difference-making of a player Micah Parsons is. So challenging situation here for the Green Bay Packers. We'll keep going on the topic here and try and figure out their path to a division title. Is it as simple as beat the Bears and they should have this thing locked down? What are the prospects of beating a Chicago Bears team just 2 weeks after doing it in Green Bay? They'll have an opportunity to do it in Chicago. Just getting started here. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday from Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're back after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
Nobody should be writing the season off. The idea of being one of the top teams without two of your best players is a big reach. But this is a season that you can find ways to do it.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You think anybody ever feels sorry for the Green Bay Packers? They don't. And they shouldn't. And you shouldn't.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The president of James Imaging Systems, Tom Tegeter.
As I reflect on the 2025 performance of the James Imaging Systems team, I'm inspired by their power of action, reliable follow-through, and ability to consistently connect with our clients. So thank you for helping our clients grow, profit, and thrive. In addition, I'm humbled by the trust our clients place in the James Imaging Systems expertise to help them succeed, now and in the years to come. As your local business technology partner, I extend my appreciation and gratitude for your ongoing loyalty. Looking forward, I feel that as individuals and as a community, if we display the power of positive action and authentically strive to find common ground, then our local communities will be stronger and our family connections will be secure and enduring. To everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless America.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Hi, I'm Brittany Miller from Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more. Custom T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, you name it, we can do it. Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and more is family owned and all about celebrating life's big moments. Maybe it's a milestone birthday, a celebration for your child's first goal, or that work fundraising event. We are everyone's printer. No minimum orders, affordable designs, and help straight from me and our team. We're the one-stop shop for all your custom needs. Start your project today at bigfrog.com/Mequon.
Ho, 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 my back.
Santa?
Ho, 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 Gina Della from Pella. You've been a good girl this year.
Is that why you're in here building new windows?
Yes. Next year, how about just asking for a Pella gift card? My elves are used to designing windows from other places where they're all pretty much the same. But Pella? Ho, 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 so many customizations and designs. My elves aren't qualified, so Santa has to put in some overtime. Ho,
Let me make a call. BRB.
Frighteningly fast Pella team at your service. Let us take it from here, Mr. Claus. And Gina, next time.
Yeah, I know. Santa already lectured me. Ask for a Pella gift card.
What if you need new windows or doors, but you're on the naughty list?
Then this will definitely help. Right now, at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get 0% interest for 24 months.
Ho, ho, ho! Visit the Pella site, and to all a good night.
PellaWI.com.
Restrictions apply. 12/31/2025.
Skip the usual winter gifts, the sweater, the candle, the quick gift card. This year, upgrade it. The Jewelry Center is giving one lucky listener a $2,000 gift certificate so you can trade in. That's nice for, oh my gosh, this is amazing. With 4 convenient Southeast Wisconsin locations, the Jewelry Center has something unforgettable for someone special. Or even for you. Enter now at goodkarmabrands.com/Wisconsin contests. No purchase necessary. Contest ends December 23rd. Full rules online.
A blizzard of $300,000 in prizes is rolling into Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. It's Arctic Action. 1 in, Step 1. Earn entries with your rewards card December 1st through the 18th. Step 2. Show up for Thursday drawings. Step 3. Be ready for a chance to pick from a weekly prize board. As a bonus, there'll be a jackpot drawing for the leftover prizes. Arctic Action. Only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Tell me now, do you want it?
Right now. We'll watch the play first because they're going deep. They're going deep, and stepping in front is Surtain with the pick, and Watson was hurt. Surtain high stepping and slipping by one tackle attempt.
Oh, it was that play, a deep shot to Christian Watson, that really changed the tides of yesterday's game in Denver. Packers had a nice, comfortable lead, 23-14 at the time. Deep shot picked off by Patrick Surtain. Watson injures his shoulder and chest, taken to the hospital. Ended up traveling home with the team. That is a good sign. Will he play Saturday against the Bears? Well, this week will help determine that. Bit of a short week here for the Packers as they prepare for a Saturday evening contest at Soldier Field. ESPN Wisconsin's Jason Wilde joining us on the line right now. Wilde and Tausch 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin and work online. Wonderful work at channel3000.com. Hey, Wilde.
How we doing, guys? Has Josh said anything to this point that is worthy of a do-it-yourself infographic that he enjoys so much?
I did not do that myself, just to make it clear. I think everything I say is worthy of a graphic. Our wonderful social media team did that for me. Maddie, shout out to her.
Okay. Can't wait to hear what you come up with during this segment, my good friend.
All right. Well, the play that Chris Larson, our intrepid producer, played, it seemed to be the turning point in yesterday's game, Jason. And I think as I was watching that game play out, it felt to me like the loss of Watson was most impactful yesterday. Long-term, Micah Parsons, no doubt. That is a significant loss. It's just an awful, awful situation here. But everything changed after Watson went down yesterday. If he can't go on Saturday, and I know it's speculatory, but how do you design an offense without your fastest receiver, your most impactful receiver, in an offense that really had a tough time get going once Watson left the game yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, look, it obviously is less than ideal if he's not available. I think we have to wait and see. You know, we didn't have any LaFleur did not speak today. I'm assuming that we will have Tuesday be a Wednesday, Wednesday be a Thursday, and Thursday be a Friday this week in the NFL calendar as they get ready for a Saturday game. But I'll be honest, the fact that his dad came out shortly after the game, said number 9 was fine, which was apparently going to be bad news to the haters, and then the fact that he did travel home with the team and everything else. I think that, you know, until we talk to him, I can't say this for certain, but I kind of like his chances, right? He didn't break his collarbone. He didn't suffer any sort of internal injuries. There's no collapsed lung or lacerated kidney, which is always the kind of thing that you're nervous about when a guy's announced as a chest injury. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see what his availability can look like for Saturday. But, yeah, look, they still have other quality players. I thought, you know, Matthew Golden, who has been dinged up for weeks, was productive. We know that Jaden Reed is starting to get more and more into the swing of things. They did have some production on offense early in the year before they had Christian Watson back. Now, of course, they had Tucker Kraft at that time. So, you know, and I agree with you that was a colossal turning point in the game, right? They take the deep shot. It turns into an interception. Watson is injured. The Broncos go 71 yards the other direction and go and get a touchdown. They have a couple of big plays on their way to that with Nix with a couple of big throws. But the Packers are still winning 23-21, right? They have their next possession, which I think ends in a punt, if I remember correctly. And then that's when the Broncos go on their next drive, during which Micah Parsons is injured. And to me, you know, that's where these guys kind of lost their zeal. I mean, that was devastating. You could see it on their faces. You could see, and if you read Micah Parsons' lips, he knew right away what had happened. They get the touchdown. They take the lead 27-23. But the crazy thing about this is that they are still, and the Broncos certainly did their part to help. They still are in the game after that, right? I mean, McManus cuts it to 1 on the field goal, and then the Harvey touchdown that pushes it back to 34-26. It's still only an 8-point game, so it's still a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And then obviously Love throws the interception when he throws it behind Wicks. They still get the ball back one more time, right? And I think they're in Denver. Joshy, help me out here. Aren't they in Denver territory? I know it's a 4th down, but aren't they? Doesn't that play start in Denver territory before the 2-minute warning that Love gets sacked for like a 10 or 12-yard sack loss on 4th down? Like, the game, it wasn't completely over. It feels like it because of the devastation of the Parsons injury, but for all the things that went poorly for them, they still had a chance at the end until they didn't.
The play started at the Denver 44, and it resulted in a 8-yard sack. So you are correct there, Jason. What did you make of how the defense performed prior to Micah Parsons suffering that injury? Because it looked like, and I think the results showed it, that Bo Nix had the game of his life, and certainly some of that was the benefit of not having Micah Parsons after that. But I thought he looked good throughout the day, and it looked like the Packers were pretty in danger, even with Micah Parsons when it came to the passing game.
Yeah, look, the Broncos had a really good day offensively, and Bo Nix throwing for 303 yards and 4 touchdowns. All the conversation that we had leading into the game was about Bo Nix's inconsistency, right? And he's a young quarterback who's finding his way. We've seen plenty of young quarterbacks do this, that their growth is in fits and starts. And when Jordan Love has a game like Bo Nix had yesterday, what did we talk about it as? Oh, it's a huge step forward for his development. There's still going to be performances that are going to be not up to par, but this was a big moment for him. I'm sure the Denver, radio stations and beat writers are all talking about what a important step this was in Nix's growth, and he did it against a really good defense. At the same time, the Packers had some pretty good success against a really good defense too. I just thought it was a really good football game, and to me, yes, the defense did not play up to its standard by any means, but they were in a game that was a back-and-forth game, and that's why I look at the 2 injuries that we're talking about here as being game changers, because I think that really took the wind out of the Packers' sails, especially with Parsons, because they still had they were still very much in the game at the time, and it just looked like they were lost thereafter. I'm super curious now to get to Saturday night in Chicago and see what Jeff Hafley has dialed up. And we spent some time talking about this morning on our show about what they did defensively last season with simulated pressures and blitzing. He conjured passer pressure up from thin air, because we know they did not have an elite pass rusher last year. Let's not forget that they were preparing for this season to not have an elite pass rusher either throughout the offseason, throughout training camp. So I don't know what kind of ideas Jeff Hafley was working on in like early August and late July, and I don't know how much of that he's used while having Parsons. But now that they don't have that field tilting player, it's time to pull out all the stops. And I'm eager to see what they have for Caleb Williams on Saturday night.
Yeah, kind of interested to see how the snap counts play out as well. As you had talked about last week going into the game, Kingsley Enagbare deserved to play more. And if it was down between snaps of Enagbare or Rashawn Gary, Enagbare deserved to be on the field more than Rashawn Gary, who has struggled to even sniff the quarterback over the past month plus. You may not have that luxury this time around without Micah Parsons on the field, but you also bring Lucas Van Ness, and I know people want to make fun of that he's not lived up to his first-round potential. Better to have him than not have him, I suppose, in this situation. Moving forward, he had done some nice things prior to his injury. He's a healthy and I would say relatively fresh body down the stretch, which is not common in the NFL. I guess there are more chess pieces at least to work with here than you had maybe 3 weeks ago. Of course, you're still trying to absorb the impact of the loss of Devontae Wyatt as well. So I'm with you, Jason. I'm very curious to see snap counts, who lines up where, how creative Jeff Hafley needs to be in order to stop a Bears offense that has caught fire here over the last several weeks.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's give Lucas Van Ness the benefit of the doubt. His numbers are minuscule, because he missed 7 of the last 8 games. And the one game he played like single-digit snaps, right? Rashawn Gary's been playing the whole time, and he's been playing with Micah Parsons opposite him. So he has to elevate his game. He was very emotional. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but he was very emotional in the locker room yesterday in Denver. The best way he can show his support for Micah Parsons is to take that mantle and be a field-tilting player. And he has not been he had the 4.5 sacks in the first 3 games. He has had 3 sacks since. He has gone 7 consecutive games without a sack. Jeff Hafley's explanation holds some water. But, look, if you're a top-flight pass rusher, you don't go 7 games without a sack. So I hope if you're a Packers fan, your expectation should be, hey, now that you don't have Parsons, what are you prepared to do to elevate your game? Because that's the best way you can, show your support for your fallen comrade, is to take that mantle and be a force to be reckoned with. In the case of Lucas Van Ness, I mean, his last play that he suffered the foot injury on in October, he was sacking Joe Flacco during his Bengals stint, not during his Browns stint. He seemed to be benefiting. He seemed to be another one of those boats that was benefiting from the rising tide of having Micah Parsons. Again, that's not going to be part of the equation anymore. So Lucas Van Ness has to elevate his game. They're going to have to play Kingsley and Egbare more snaps than he had previously been getting. He seems like a guy that has taken advantage of the snaps he's had. So he's going to have to play at a higher level as well. And then it goes back to Jeff Hafley and what else can he conjure up from a schematic standpoint to generate more pressure. But I also think it's on the other side of the ball. The quarterback was, in my opinion, very much in the MVP conversation. I don't know if he was 3rd, 4th, however you wanted to view him. But now they need him to be the guy that is capable of putting the team on his back if he needs to do that. And I think Jordan Love, I'm sure we're going to talk to him about that. I'm very curious to see how he answers those types of questions this week. But everyone has to do more. And that certainly includes everyone on defense and includes the quarterback.
So tomorrow is indeed, in fact, a Wednesday in Packers land, given they're scheduled with a Saturday night game. So there will be media availability on Tuesday, not terribly common in a normal week in the NFL, but we'll have sound coming from the locker room tomorrow. Jason Wilde will be all over it, covering the Packers expertly for over 25 years. Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon tomorrow on ESPN Wisconsin. Great stuff, Wilde. Always good to connect. We'll do it again next week.
All right, guys. Can't wait to hear what Josh says that merits a sound graph, so keep me posted.
We will dial up something juicy for Joshy coming up on the other side. Good to check in with Jason. I do want to double back on something Jason mentioned, and it's about the opportunities the Packers had down the stretch. I know Micah Parsons was gone. I know Zach Tom was gone. I know Christian Watson was gone. But time and time again, the Packers defense did just enough to get the ball back in their hands, and the offense wasn't able to produce. Is that an indictment? Is there fair criticism being put on Jordan Love's shoulders? If he's a true MVP candidate, doesn't he find a way out of that situation? We'll dive into it after this.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
When winter hits Wisconsin hard, Safe Plow hits back. Founded by 2 locals who know winter inside and out, Safe Plow delivers no-tolerance snow removal, meaning they're on it before, during, and after every storm for hospitals, retail centers, and all businesses that can't afford downtime. From small driveways to massive parking lots, Safe Plow's dedicated team keeps your property clear, safe, and accessible, prioritizing handicap ramps and disabled parking every time. At Safe Plow, they handle the blizzard, you handle your business. Serving Madison, Milwaukee, and all of southeastern Wisconsin. Book now at safeplow.com.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
We never see, quote unquote, the end of dynasties coming until the end actually happens. That conversation has been prevalent ever since the torn ACL happened by Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes and their loss to the Los Angeles Chargers that completely knocked them out of the playoff race in 2025. And everybody said after seeing the torn ACL and finding about that information from Patrick Mahomes that the Chiefs dynasty has finally come to an end. I think plenty of people saying the same thing back in 2009 when, just like Patrick Mahomes in his 9th season, Tom Brady, the Patriots, suffered a torn ACL, and everybody said that was going to be the end of the New England Patriots dynasty. What did they do? They reinvented themselves, and then they kept winning, and they won 3 more championships. Not saying the same thing could happen to Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, but be careful trying to throw dirt on the dynasty of the Kansas City Chiefs. They may rise up out of that dirt like the Patriots did back then and be champions once again going forward. In 60 seconds, those Buffalo Bills are hard to kill.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
They are definitely hard to kill. I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills. Because time and time again this year, in so many different games, you're saying to yourself, yep, that's it. Yep, that's it. Yep, that's it. And time again, like the old mythological creature known as the Phoenix rising from the ashes, they do it and keep on keeping on. They did it again yesterday because the New England Patriots were ready to have that coronation of being AFC East champions. They had the hats and T-shirts ready. They were kicking behind and taking names, having a 21-0 lead. And then the Buffalo Bills showed exactly how hard they are to kill. They're not going to win the division. I still think the Patriots are going to win that. But that team in the playoffs, even though they're not playing at home, may be the kind of team you don't want to see. The Patriots are the best first-half team in the NFL. Guess who's the best second-half team? The Buffalo Bills, which means they could be even harder to kill doing it again like they did to the Patriots. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
Looking for a new car, truck, or SUV? Now is the time to buy because Ewald Automotive Group's year-end sale is here. We're saying yes to the lowest prices of the year on over 1,500 new and pre-owned vehicles. Yes to 0% financing. Yes to maximum trade values. And yes to no payments until 2026. Ewald's year-end sale. Now through year-end.
Go to EwaldAuto.com.
To approve credit on select models. Interest accrues from date of purchase. Expires month end.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Man, you just got to get back to work, honestly. I think it's part of the game. Injuries and a tough loss like this. So it's one of those things you gotta learn from it, grow from it, and we got a short week. A game on Saturday, so it's just about getting back to work and finding ways to keep improving and get back ready and get everybody back as healthy as possible for next week.
So just how good is Jordan Love? Packers quarterback threw for 215 yards in the first half of yesterday's game against Denver, against a top-flight defense. Love was shredding it. Packers were on a roll, stymied a bit in the red zone, but still put up points on their 5 first possessions of the game. That included a second-half touchdown run by Josh Jacobs early in the third quarter. But he limped to the finish line as the world was caving in around him, literally and figuratively, with losses to Christian Watson due to injury, Zach Tom due to injury, and the barreling down of the Denver defense when the Packers were in obvious passing situations. After all that happened on the field yesterday, Joshy, the Packers still had several chances to tie the game, and they failed down the stretch. The losses were significant, but you could even hear Tony Romo, if you paid attention to the TV broadcast, say, this is where MVPs are born. If you're going to be part of the MVP conversation, you have got to find a way to get your team into the end zone here. Tie this game on the road against a high-quality opponent. And after Denver had scored a touchdown to go ahead 34-26 in the fourth quarter, the Packers came back and Jordan Love threw an interception. And then the Packers were out on down. 7 plays, just 1 total yard gained on that sequence. Final drive of the game. 4 plays, -5 yards. The rush was on. There were throws that were inaccurate. There were throws that came out of his hand far before Jordan Love wanted to throw it. I get it. I totally get it. I maintain Jordan Love will receive MVP votes if the Packers win the division. But I think any talk of him being a true, legitimate MVP, I think a portion of that conversation died on the field in Denver yesterday. Not to say he has to be for the Packers to make a deep run, but now he does, with Micah Parsons out and some other injuries, other players compromised. They had time and time again an opportunity to tie that game, and it all fizzled there in the fourth quarter. And he was part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it died with the loss just because the Packers aren't going to be the 1 seed, which I think he would have had to have gotten to win the MVP. I have basically from the point of the Christian Watson and Micah injury, I've thrown out what we saw. I think there was a emotional drain that happened and sort of a, oh no, where do we go from here mentality. I do think all the things you talked about are important. Not having Zach Tom, being in a forced to pass situation where everyone in the stadium knows you're passing. If there's a quarterback, sans maybe Josh Allen, that would thrive in that situation, in that game, I'd like to know who it is, because I think that was a virtually unwinnable situation against that defense in specific. One that can get after the passer that well, and has 2 cornerbacks that are amongst the best in all the league. Without your your 2 best pass catchers, because Tucker Kraft isn't coming back from injury. I think Jordan Love is still going to finish as probably top 3 or 4 when it comes to the MVP. I do think he has the ability to do the Superman thing and sort of will this team to probably a couple more victories than actually they should have. I think given the opportunities all throughout the season, we've seen Jordan Love answer the bell. I think there's been comebacks. There's been impressive drives. When they need it, he gets them into situation to win the game. It's just they don't always do that. To me, Jordan Love has become, and this is no slight to Micah, he's become the MVP that everyone was looking for. It just doesn't feel the same to people because it doesn't look the same to Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's something, until he wins a Super Bowl, he's going to be stuck with. It seems like we're looking for a guy to have the Hall of Fame resume before he's had the opportunity to earn the Hall of Fame resume.
Yeah, I think that games like that are part of the resume, right?
Yes.
Opportunities like that against a team that had won 10 straight, hadn't lost in September, bona fide top-flight defense, defensive player of the year in Patrick Surtain, more sacks than any team in the league by a comfortable margin going into yesterday's game. First half, Jordan Love played like an MVP.
He answered the bell in a way that, frankly, I didn't anticipate.
It was remarkable.
And I've been saying Jordan Love deserves to be MVP for like 2 months now.
He has saved their season at times this season against the Giants. I don't know, the Giants are a terrible team.
Yeah.
But it still took Jordan
Love
result was
being
there,
superhuman
right, to make that a win. And he was sensational against the Bears and at other points throughout the season. He has that ability. What separates the real MVPs from the others is consistency in that pursuit of a win in a situation like that, kind of crumbling around you, and you find a way. He's been, I think, far above average when it comes to fourth quarter comebacks, getting his team in the end zone when they need it to hopefully preserve a win. And at times it's been a victory. At times the defense has let him down on the other end. That happens too. So officially not a fourth quarter comeback. It doesn't result in a win. Rodgers became very consistent with his ability to bring teams back. Brett Favre, for many of his inconsistencies, pretty good at the whole fourth quarter thing. Although Favre was much more reckless with the football and never achieved a quarterback rating over 100 during his time as a Packer. Let that sink in for a second, okay? Like, it was just, it was a bonfire at times with Brett Favre.
He was responsible himself a lot of times for the needed comebacks. He had got the Packers.
You're right. Right. How'd you get in that situation? Favre threw 3 picks.
Yeah, he was cleaning up his own mess.
Favre was 5 for 5 the last drive for 80 yards, right? Like, that was just the wildness of Brett Favre, and it was wildly entertaining, but it also just ripped your kidneys out, man. It was just painful to watch at times. Some of the most painful losses in history were because of a late game interception thrown by Brett Favre. Rodgers took care of the ball much better, historically accurate. I get that. But there were still some incredibly painful losses. Some, yeah, Aaron came up a little bit short late in the game. Others, he put them in position to win. I get it. Very difficult thing to do at a high level consistently. And more years will add to the resume for Jordan Love. I totally get that. That felt like a great opportunity, right? Everybody moved to the edge of their seat in the fourth quarter when the Packers got the ball back. And then it was a pick. And then the Packers defense steps up on a fourth down with a stop. And the drive goes nowhere. And then again, and now, okay, here you go, Jordan. You're clapping. You're urging him on from your recliner and your couch, saying, this is the time. This is when you do it. And it came up short. It was deflating for me to watch because he had done so many great things earlier in that game and really at points throughout the season where it lends you to believe, all right, he's going to get it done. He is going to, regardless, chips are down, but he is going to get it done right now. And it all fizzled. And he had 3 cracks to do it. That was frustrating to me. Yeah. A number of reasons why he was under duress. I get it. We have outlined that. But that felt deflating to me in that moment. That was a chance to put the team on your shoulders in a seriously difficult environment and come out, at the very least, with an opportunity to go for 2 and tie that game up. Maybe you push the game to overtime.
Well, I don't agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. I think everything you're saying is fair. And I do think it is sort of important for us to remember the season in its totalities and the opportunities that Jordan Love has had and how he's more times than not this season, I'd say many more times than not, he has answered the bell. I do think it was disappointing and he had an opportunity that for whatever you or I choose to blame or anybody in the audience chooses to point the finger at, I think that's where you sort of can decide on what was the biggest reason and did he let his team down or did he let himself down? I do think it's also quite a privilege for us to be talking about him as, well, if you really are the MVP.
For sure.
When last season, we had a lot of doubts. The first half of his career, in his first season, we were really doubting it. I remember looking up who are going to be some of the guys drafted in the year upcoming because I was so unsold by Jordan Love. So I think yes, it is a piece that goes into figuring out just who Jordan Love is and then determining is a fringe MVP guy, because let's remember, Matthew Stafford, now his teams were terrible, but he hadn't sniffed an MVP until this season. He's had success. There's plenty of guys, I think, that can have the success they need to be, especially if they play the way Jordan Love played down the stretch here. You only need to put a few of those together to really win a Super Bowl and take your team to the highest highs. I think Jordan Love is going to continue to impress, and I think we've seen a step forward this year that is going to make him like one of the guys that everybody's looking at and is afraid of week in and week out, no matter what the situation is. Aaron Rodgers, if we remember, Skip Bayless, when he was at his height, the whole thing, he tweeted every single time Aaron Rodgers had an opportunity to come back and get a fourth quarter win. He reminded every single Packer fan, Aaron Rodgers couldn't do it. And at that time, we were all saying, well, it's the defense. There's all these factors. And I do think when we net those out and Jordan Love's time is done in, say, the next 2 seasons, we're going to say this guy is the reason the Packers have had the opportunities they do.
Packers certainly don't need to be looking for another quarterback. I think Jordan Love is fantastic. I was disappointed in that moment. I thought it could have been a big shot in the arm, not only for the team, but it would have buoyed his MVP chances. He's not winning the MVP this year. He's not.
No.
I think even if the Packers end up at the number 1 seed, which actually, can they do that mathematically now? I'm losing track. But nonetheless, I think he gets votes if they win the division. You might see a couple of votes stray his way. He's not going to win the MVP, but if the Packers are going to be a Super Bowl caliber team and Jordan Love's their quarterback, at some point along the line, he is likely to receive more than just votes, but enough votes to actually win it. And that's, fair or unfair, been the standard here in Green Bay with quarterback play.
Yeah, I think prior to this season, I had my doubts that Jordan Love would ever win an MVP. I think this year confirmed it's going to happen, and it's a matter of time. It's things going the right way for him for the entirety of a season. Is that 2026? I don't know. Is that 2027? Whenever it is, I do think what we've seen him and what he's capable of has all the makings of a guy who's going to earn one of those.
Coming up next, we'll do a little buy or sell on the program. Josh DiMaggio in for Gary Ellerson, who is a little under the weather. I don't think he was sickened by the game yesterday. He's battling something different. But nevertheless, we'll continue on. Also, Monday Night Football tonight. Aaron Rodgers looking like a Hurts employee as the Steelers host the Miami Dolphins. More after this from Potawatomi Sportsbook.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Stay up to date on the green and gold all season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
This game is once in a century. Be there at Fiserv Forum on December 26th. Go to HarlemGlobetrotters.com for your tickets to the 100-year tour.
St. Nick meets St. Kate. The holidays are in full swing at St. Kate the Arts Hotel, where every celebration shines a little brighter. Browse unique gifts at the holiday marketplace, gather for unforgettable Christmas Eve and Christmas Day dining, and of course, don't miss Brunch with Santa, a family favorite filled with joy, treats, and holiday magic. Celebrate the season at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. Visit stkatearts.com/holidays for all the details.
Looking for a delicious meal without breaking the bank? Cousin Subs has you covered. Our $10 meal deal gives you a 7.5-inch ham and provolone, turkey breast, or veggie sub piled high with fresh hand-sliced ingredients, crisp veggies, and all your favorite toppings. Add a bag of chips or regular fries, a fountain drink, and a cookie, all for just $10. This deal's available online or through the Cousins app only. And you can enjoy your meal at home, at work, or delivered straight to your door, hot and fresh. Cousin Subs. We believe in better. Available at participating locations. Offer subject to change.
Retail stores may be easy to shop at, but nothing beats a gift that lasts. Give the gift of basketball with Precision Sports Services. Get 10% off any basketball hoop and installation package now through the end of the year. Premium products, professional in-house installation. Visit Precision Sports Services and make your holidays a slam dunk.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right, and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything, from the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys. Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
One of the best things about the holidays is going home and spending time with family and friends. One of the worst things, getting there. Holiday travel can be tough, especially driving. If you or a loved one needs help after an accident this holiday season, we're here for you. Our top-notch team of experienced professionals is available 24/7. Be safe this holiday season. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Pain has a way of stealing the moments that matter most, especially during the holidays. It's not just your knees, your back, or your shoulders. It's time with family and friends. But in 2026, that all could change when your body remembers how to heal. It just needs a little help finding the way back. Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team at QC Kinetics here in Milwaukee believe relief doesn't just come from surgery or pain pills. They use your body's own natural healing abilities to repair and restore what's been lost. It's your body's comeback story, powered by the very cells that built you in the first place. No surgery, no pain pills, no long recovery, just your body remembering how to feel alive again. QC Kinetics delivers that long-term relief that you're finally looking for. Make the new year your turning point where pain stops defining you. It's time to take that first step. Literally, time to walk, enjoy the holidays, live without pain, and live without hesitation. With QC Kinetics, healing is within reach. Schedule your free consultation today at QC Kinetics. Give them a call at 414-240-2298. That's 414-240-2298. 414-240-2298.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN. The market is open, and the hot takes are trading fast. From bold predictions to brutal realities, it's time to put the takes on the table. Are you buying or are you selling? It's time to buy or sell.
All right, Josh, as a frequent listener of the program, I trust you know how we play the game here on buy or sell. Are you familiar?
I'm familiar with the concept.
Okay,
yes.
The concept, which indicates that you do not listen to the program, which is fine. Happy to have you here in place of Gary Ellerson, who's a little under the weather here. Not just because of yesterday's game, though I'm sure that's not helping. So I simply tee you up with an idea, a thought. You tell me if you're buying or selling what I'm serving. Got it?
Clear as day.
It really is a pretty simple game. I like to keep it easy.
Do we let people behind the image? A lot of our games are all the same. They're just packaged differently.
Yeah, different names, right? Different big voice guy treatment, right? Smash or pass is one we've played. Buy or sell.
Yeah.
Fact or fiction. Right.
Scales unbreasted, 1 or 0.
1 or 0. Okay. Well, that's a new one. Got it. All right, so we begin with this. The Packers are now 9-4-1. Are you buying or selling? The Packers will win the division. Keep it simple.
I am buying it. I'm not. I am down and out. I am selling anything maybe larger than that, but I think a rivalry game, the NFC North, Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, I think that's enough. I think the Bears are rather limited, and that's the main thing in standing in front of the Packers. I do think they and their quarterback are limited, giving the Packers an opportunity to win the North.
How incumbent is it that Christian Watson plays on Saturday? Does that alter your calculus at all? Because I think that the path to winning the division, it certainly begins if they win over the Bears. Like you fall into the very, very remote chance of winning the division if you lose on Saturday.
I think he's the most important non-Jordan Love player that's remaining for the Packers.
On the team?
Yes. I think you could argue Josh Jacobs. I think that would be fair to do. But just with what Jordan Love does well and wants to do, Christian Watson is absolutely essential to that. And I think without him, the game plan gets a lot different and a lot more difficult.
Segue, Christian Watson is under contract for next season. Are you buying or selling the Packers will negotiate a multi-year deal before next season begins?
I'm selling it because I don't believe they legally can.
Well, at some point they'll be able to do that, right? I think it's right around September. Sometime in September they can do that.
I think he has earned a long-term future with the Packers. So I am buying that. I do think what we've seen, the progression from him, I mean, and I've said this before on different shows, he's become a real wide receiver. And I don't mean that as bad as it may sound, but he's doing more than he had ever done.
Well, he's not just a fast guy.
Yes.
Right?
Which was what he was. He's winning balls. He's taking it away from. He's running outs. He's running digs. He's running ins. Like, he's doing all the things you need him to. He might not be the most refined route runner, but he showed he's capable of it, and he's capable of holding up an offense sort of as the main feature, and I think that's incredibly important. And guys with that size and speed and the ability to do all those things don't come around often.
There's nobody in the Packers wide receiving room that has quite the skill set that Christian Watson has. I would say Matthew Golden is probably the closest.
Yes.
And it's also time for Matthew Golden to not be a rookie anymore.
Yeah.
But that's becoming important. And I'm not putting it all on him. But his snap count, his usage, he probably scores a touchdown if a Jordan Love passes a little more on the money instead of behind him. That's probably Golden's first touchdown of the year. I would not have thought we'd reach this point of the season, and Savion Williams would have more touchdowns than Matthew Golden, but here we are. He becomes, to me, maybe the most critical wide receiver in the Packers' arsenal if Christian Watson misses any time. Because he is the only guy who can do the things that Christian Watson is capable of doing, or scratching that, right?
Right.
With his deep ball ability, his under route ability, his hands. I think Golden has tremendous hands. He is such a key piece.
Yes. Yeah, I was quite pleased with, he didn't play a whole lot, but when he was thrown, the ball was thrown to him, His speed is such a differentiator. I mean, on that dig he ran, the down and in. Sorry, I don't mean to. Sometimes I realize we're talking a little inside here. Not everyone's the same. He was open in a way that I don't know I've seen any other wide receiver other than Christian Watson create that much separation in that short amount of time. I think there is a future you can start to tell yourself where Matthew Golden's taking the Romeo Doubs routes and Christian Watson is out there doing what he does. And then you're looking and going, everybody's afraid of these guys because they've got two guys who can turn a simple slant into 60, 70 yards because they're that fast and they have that game-breaking ability. So I do think he's, as the season, if Matthew Golden stays healthy, I think we're going to see sort of a blossoming and a real case for we've got something here heading into his second season.
Micah Parsons done for the rest of the year and maybe a decent portion of next season. However, Parsons did go to Twitter today and just put September. Put September as if I'll be back in September. Don't worry about it. I'll be back. Remarkable if he's able to sniff the field in that short of a time frame. But that would be a similar time frame to Christian Watson. So we shall see. And he's certainly not a guy that I would doubt in that pursuit. Nevertheless, are you buying or selling that Keyshawn Nixon takes the biggest hit out of any Packers defensive player with the loss of Micah Parsons?
I am buying that. And I think Keyshawn Nixon has been better than it's being treated by the fan base. I do think he's susceptible to a penalty, and I do think he has a tendency to get a little over-aggressive, but that's how he plays the best, when he's able to be just a downhill attacking style of cornerback, and now he's going to have to play more conservative because teams are going to have a lot more time when they drop back to pass. So I think he's going to have a very tough time, and teams are probably going to be targeting him because they know what he wants to do, how he wants to play, how he's aggressive. If the ball's in front of him, Keyshawn Nixon is going to be there to make a play. It's when you start running the double move stuff, when you start challenging him down the field, that's where I think he struggles the most.
So the reason I bring up the question is we talked about this earlier in the season. As soon as Micah Parsons to the Packers was a done deal, the very first program we had here, Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, I asked Gary Ellerson, who benefits the most from Micah Parsons being on this team? And his answer was Keyshawn Nixon. And I think we've seen that play out. I wouldn't say that's an untrue statement now that we're 15 weeks into the season. I think where it helps Keyshawn Nixon the most is that if you know the play you're in on the defensive side, you know what Micah Parsons is doing, you know the quarterback is not going to have all that much time. You know the wide receiver is not going to be able to run it out and up. They don't have that much time. You can gamble on that out, right? And Keyshawn Nixon was pretty high on the totem pole here in the NFL with pass breakups. Yep. Not infallible, right? He's not perfect. He is better than I would have expected, given what I thought he was at the start of the year. He's had a nice season in a very difficult, challenging situation. But I think we're going to learn a lot about the Packers secondary here with the loss of Micah Parsons. My worry is that what we saw yesterday in Denver repeats itself in Chicago.
Start of a trend.
That is not to say the Packers can't win a game like that, because I think the offense is potent enough to win a shootout. But you're seeing the Ravens catch a little bit of heat right now. You're seeing the Vikings strangely sort of turn things around, and the best player on their team is a wide receiver. And the Bears are hot, right? Even though the Packers slowed their momentum a little bit, the Bears' offense is in a groove right now. Cannot take that away from him. So that's the guy. Like, that is the single player I'm probably most intrigued to watch play over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think the other guy I would include there would be Rashawn Gary, even though I think I'm ready to say we know what Rashawn Gary is. And
he wasn't producing with Micah Parsons.
Right, and what we've seen from him for the past 4 or 5 seasons is just sort of who he is. I thought there was a real case to be made for him sort of turning a corner and benefiting the most from Micah Parsons. But then we saw what we've seen the past 6 weeks where he's basically been a non-factor. He's now a 50-50 player with J.J. Enagbare. So to me, Keyshawn Nixon has a real opportunity here to cement himself and to sort of adjust how he plays. And it's going to be on Jeff Hafley a lot, too, because he's going to need help. Just because he's not a burner by any means. He's fast enough to stick with guys, but I thought we saw sort of in that moment yesterday when Micah Parsons went down, we all sort of saw, well, this is kind of what we thought might happen when this guy has to be sticky for longer than the 2.5 seconds he became accustomed to.
Coming up at hour number 2 of the program, we're going to check in with John Jurkovic of ESPN 1000 in Chicago. Of course, he suited up for both sides of this rivalry during his time in the NFL. Jurko joins us coming up at about 7:30. So how confident are the Bears going into this Week 16 matchup at Soldier Field? They are the first-place team in the NFC North. Much more after this, hour number 2 of Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday from Potawatomi Sportsbook in Milwaukee.
This game is once in a century. Be there at Fiserv Forum on December 26th. Go to HarlemGlobetrotters.com for your tickets to the 100-year tour.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Give the gift of a special night out from the Bartolotta restaurants. Purchase a gift card at bartolottas.com and get a $20 holiday bonus for every $100 you spend. Happy holidays from all of us at the Bartolotta restaurants, and thank you, Milwaukee.
Buying a new roof might not be the most exciting thing you'll do this year, but for us at Big Fish Contracting, being chosen to do that roof for you not only provides income for multiple families in southeastern Wisconsin, but has a global reach and impact around the world. To us, it's more than just a roof. We've been earning trust for over 2 decades, roofing, siding, windows, and more. Go to bigfishcontracting.com to learn how Big Fish is renovating homes and redeeming an industry.
When storms hit or accidents happen, it's not just about property, it's about people. I'm Mandy Grimal-Lococo with Grimal and Associates Insurance. We help families bundle home, auto, and life coverage so you're never facing life's what-ifs alone. With the heavy rains we've seen in Milwaukee, we'll review your policy to be sure water backup, sump pump failures, and flood risks don't drain your wallet. Your home is more than walls and a roof, it's where life happens. At Grimal and Associates Insurance in Shorewood, we're here to protect your home, your family, and your peace of mind. Call us today at 414-332-0838.
This is Brian Balaga. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN.
94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. The game is over.
Love looking downfield, lofting to the end zone. It's Jacobs with the catch. Oh my goodness! What a grab by the running back.
And it's the day after.
It's easy. I think we got a connected team, and I think I know how our guys will respond, and we got a great test coming up. Going to Chicago, a game that went down to the wire last time we played, and obviously they rolled today, so it's to go back on top of the division. So I know we're going to get their best, and they're going to get our best.
Let's react to the game and look ahead. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios. Here's Greg Matzek and Josh DiMaggio.
Hour 2, Mike's up on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Greg Matzek and Josh DiMaggio with you. Gary Ellerson is out. He'll be back next week as we are hopefully talking about a Packers win over the Chicago Bears. We will dive into that matchup coming up here in hour number 2 of the program. Also take a bigger look here at the NFC and AFC playoff picture. It's going to be a different collection of teams here in the postseason, no doubt about that. And just how many teams will have double-digit wins and be looking at the playoffs from the outside? It can happen here. There's no doubt about it, especially when you consider tonight's game. So we're about to get started with Monday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers and Miami Dolphins. In Miami, it's been a weird year for them, but they have caught a bit of a groove here. They're kind of hot. And the Steelers are not hot, but they are 7-6. And, well, that's good enough to be atop the AFC North. So a loss tonight for the Steelers, and they pull even with the Baltimore Ravens, who have caught a bit of a groove as well after a very strange start to their season. So it's going to be a team in the AFC, going to be a team in the NFC hovering right around 500 and a division winner here. So you're going to have quite a separation between the best and worst records in the postseason. But those worst records are likely to be division winners.
Correct. Yeah, it feels like this happens every few years in the NFL. It feels like it's becoming more and more frequent, too, where we say, well, who's the dominant team and who are the teams that are actual Super Bowl contenders? It feels like that list gets smaller and smaller. I think the Eagles are like the last great team we've seen, and that was just last season. But if you remember how they started, they were talking about Nick Sirianni not having a job, and then he just goes out and wins a Super Bowl to finish their season. It feels like it goes in cycles, and we're going to see. I mean, I remember, was it the Seahawks back in the day who had a losing record and made it to the playoffs, or was it one game above 5? Whatever it was.
You're right. So the Seahawks won their division with a record of 7-9.
Yes.
And the Saints, I believe, were 12-4, but finished behind the Falcons in the standings. So New Orleans had to travel to Seattle.
Correct.
But if you remember right, that was the beast mode game.
Yes.
And Marshawn Lynch ran literally over and through everybody dressed in a Saints uniform in one of the most thunderous playoff runs you've ever seen in your life. And Seattle ended up winning that game.
Yep.
So therein lies the discussion of home field advantage. But yes, the Seahawks had, considerably speaking, a worse record.
Yeah. And that's what makes the NFL playoffs so entertaining, is just the difference of these teams, even with wildly different records. The margin, as we see every single week, between the best and the worst is not very big at all.
It's not. We're going to take a deeper dive into that. Dominant teams, are there really any? Amazingly, the Chiefs have been, maybe not so amazingly, eliminated from playoff contention. Patrick Mahomes suffering a torn ACL during yesterday's game. That team was a fraud last year, in my opinion, and they proved it again this year. Winning those close games, that is not sustainable year after year in the NFL.
Yeah.
They were fraudulent. A fraudulent Super Bowl participant just happening to have one of the best players in the game.
Yeah, I think the difference is just you see what a guy like Patrick Mahomes, sort of a singular type of talent in the league right now, and how they can affect the outcome of games. And I also think Andy Reid didn't have a great year this year. I can say that for certain. If you watch that team on offense, it seems like there's enough talent to make the offense work, but they, for whatever reason, they decided Kareem Hunt needs to carry the ball a lot.
Yeah, they need to revamp that position. But enough about the Chiefs. Let's move on to the Packers, specifically the defense. Let's try and figure this out, Josh, because the Packers defense had a rough day yesterday in Denver. That was before the Micah Parsons injury. There were some decent moments on fourth down, coming up with stops when you needed to. That was great to see. But Bo Nix had himself a day. The Denver wide receivers, some of whom are household or fantasy names, others you didn't know existed or were even on a roster in the NFL until yesterday. So by and large, it was a successful day of offense for the Denver Broncos, especially passing. Without Micah Parsons now, moving forward, you've got the Bears, you've got the Ravens, you've got the Minnesota Vikings, all very different styles and attacks here on offense as the Packers round out the regular season. What does Jeff Hafley have to do now to get this defense not only on track, but also confusing the opposition, right? Do you have to disguise pressure? Can you just sort of get home with your base package and commit resources to the secondary, where the Packers may also be a little bit vulnerable, given that Parsons is so disruptive and usually forces quarterbacks to get rid of the ball early? How do you do this if you're Jeff Hafley?
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it's something we saw Jeff Hafley do a lot last season. The Packers weren't very good at getting pressure, but what they were able to do was confuse the offensive line, give unique looks, and do the simulated blitzes where it looked like upwards of 6-7 guys could be coming at any time, and then they drop into coverage and it's actually 4, and then Edgerrin Cooper is screaming at the quarterback seemingly untouched. I think it's going to be getting creative with guys like Edgerrin Cooper, like Quay Walker. I also think using Javon Bullard, using Keyshawn Nixon, and using Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney. All those guys have sort of how can we make that quarterback and that offensive coordinator who's calling plays have no idea who's coming, who's not, where it's coming from, and how they're going to do it? And it's going to be just creative play design after creative play design, doing a lot of the disguised coverage stuff, which we've seen Jeff Hafley do prior. He was doing that still a little bit this season. It's just not as necessary when you have a guy like Micah Parsons who you know is eventually is going to get to the quarterback, and you're going to kind of have to smoke and mirrors it. I do think if it's going to work, we need to see the guys like Carrington Valentine, who seems to have his hands on the ball every single week, but never turning them into interceptions. And I also think a guy like Xavier McKinney. I think Xavier McKinney's been good. He just hasn't converted those interceptions. When he's in and around the ball, he's making impacts and he's making plays. It just hasn't resulted in the big turnovers, the big game-changing plays that we became so accustomed to last season. And, I mean, the turnover rate he had was, everyone knew that was unsustainable. But I do think there's an opportunity. The Packers team, for as good as the defense has been, they're not turning the ball over all that often. It's just they're keeping teams who are approaching them, we're going to dink and dunk you and try and death by a million cuts. And I don't think that story is going to be the same when we see the Packers this weekend against the Bears.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where Xavier McKinney's greatest impact is, because if you were to power rank, I'm not asking for the power ranking music, Chris Larson, but I know he's always eager to play it. I'm not going to power rank Packers defenders here, but I will look at the very top. And you start with Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Their very next best defender is another All-Pro in Xavier McKinney, right? And then he might have a bit of a drop-off after that. But, I mean, those are two of the absolute best at their positions in the NFL, Parsons and McKinney. They're fantastic players. And McKinney showed that last year. Didn't seem like the ball was really going his way all that often this year. Like people were saying, just don't even throw at 29. Don't even worry about him because Nate Hobbs is over here. Yes. Throw at that guy. Right? And then Hobbs gets injured. Now it's Valentine. But again, the amount of pressure they're able to get out of their base and maybe an extra body down in the line of scrimmage, maybe in the box, was significant enough where life was made a little easier for the defensive backfield. So what do you do with McKinney? If you know the ball's not going to go his direction with a high degree of frequency, right? It's like Barry Bonds. He sees three strikes in a series, and he hits one out of the park. If Xavier McKinney has three balls his way, can he pick one of them off? Do you move him a bit to the line of scrimmage? Do you let him hunt a little bit? Like what can you do? And part of that is trusting Javon Bullard. It's trusting Evan Williams, guys who I think are pretty adept at the line of scrimmage, at sniffing things out. And maybe it's a combination of them as sort of your X factor, move around, just make a play behind the line of scrimmage. I'm curious to see how it works because there is a little bit more polished talent this year than I think last year when you were playing sort of a guessing game with injuries and Jair's out, Evan Williams is out. I like the pieces. I'm just interested to see how they're going to be deployed, and I'm not really sure how they're going to be deployed.
I think when it comes to moments like this and your defense is challenged, you then start looking around and go, well, who do we trust the most and what position groups do we trust the most? And I think number one with a bullet without Micah Parsons is now the safeties. I think we've seen a real emergence from Evan Williams. I think he's playing at quite a high level. I think the fact that people were calling him and considering him and comparing him to Micah Hyde, I think is absolutely an accurate thing, and I do think he is continuing to improve. I think you use those guys as sort of your ace in the hole, or I believe Jeff Hafley in his introductory press conference called the way he used safeties as the joker position, which is sort of, it's a guy we ask to do a lot. We ask him to be able to do everything. And certainly Xavier McKinney is that guy. He can cover in the slot, he can blitz, he can make impacts in the run game, and he can also play that deep safety. And I think using both of those guys sort of interchangeably and confusing defenses of, all right, now who's back there or who's covering in the slot, who's blitzing, what are we doing? I think that's where you rely. And then after that, it's using the speed and athleticism of your two main linebackers in Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker.
So I'm glad you brought up Quay Walker because we know the Packers' speed and getting to the sidelines it's quite unbelievable, to be honest. I've never seen this much speed at the linebacker position to string plays out. Plays that go to the sidelines, they die at the sidelines, typically, when the Packers linebackers
just
are
look at Jahmyr Gibbs the past 2 years. Why hasn't he had success getting to the outside?
Yeah,
Adrian Cooper, Quay Walker.
100 yards from scrimmage, snapping his finger, and he
Right.
can't get to 70 against Green Bay. So, speed on the perimeter, those plays are tough for opposing offenses. But Quay, I think, has a really important role here over the next few weeks. Because you're playing a guy in Caleb Williams who is not going to rack up the rushing yards that Lamar Jackson is or is capable of. But Caleb Williams' ability to keep a play alive and avoid the pass rush was on display in Green Bay a couple of weeks ago. And you know what? He delivered some incredible throws.
Yep.
He had some misses, but he also delivered a couple of incredible throws. So you got to be aware of that. I think that's what Quay Walker is for in a situation like this.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's a true spy or an occasional blitzer, I don't really know. I feel like he's capable of being either. But it's Caleb Williams, Lamar Jackson, and a guy in J.J. McCarthy who is a complete wild card. You don't know what to expect out of him, but the Packers made him look foolish a couple of weeks ago. He's made a couple of teams look foolish here the last couple of weeks. So anything is really up for grabs when it comes to J.J. McCarthy. But specifically the next 2 weeks, with Williams and Lamar Jackson, when I bring up those names, it's hard for me to not picture number 7 having a role in keeping them behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think it's going to be him and Adrian Cooper because they're both so unique in that ability, the ranginess that they have. And I think Jeff Hafley is going to decide, well, we're not going to have the ability. And I think you can say the plan they had for Caleb last game did not work. It wasn't keeping him in the pocket, I think, the way they desired it to. Now, we saw Micah Parsons just single-handedly be able to close and prevent Caleb from getting to the edge, but you're going to have to be creative. I do think Jeff Hafley has had, when it's come to players like Caleb and guys who are known to break the pocket and try and get open, I do think he's had good defenses dialed up for that. I can't remember a quarterback really having a game-changing rushing amount. And I think it's those two guys that we talked about in the middle of the defense that are the biggest reason. I do think we're probably not going to see the pass rush the way we all would like to, and forcing Caleb to make decisions before he has to. But I do think a way to affect Caleb is to make him stand in a pocket, because we all know, we all watched, he doesn't want to be there. Even if they're not getting close, he has no desire to just stand in the pocket and let the reads develop. That's not his game. It might be someday, but it's been since college he's been this guy, and the book's out. If he gets on the run, that's when things start to get scary.
Isn't that funny? It's like a young quarterback. And I think Jordan Love in his first year as a starter was kind of like this too. The hard stuff looks easy.
Yes.
For quarterbacks like that. Like Caleb Williams is young, developing. He's got a risk-reward offense. He likes to take deep shots, Ben Johnson. And when you have a young skill position quarterback, young skill position receivers, you're going to run into some fault. You're going to run into some errors, and it's high-risk reward with young players. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to have some incredible moments and some where you wish you had that play back. That will happen. But I remember watching the game a couple of weeks ago thinking, man, Caleb Williams, when he is doing the seemingly impossible, it's unbelievable what he's capable of. When he has to stand in the pocket and throw a pass, it looks awful.
Yes.
Like, why is that, right? It's sometimes the easy stuff, easy in air quotes, because I'm not doing it, looks hard, and the hard stuff looks easy.
Right. The things, here's a good way to put it. He can't do the things that Jared Goff does. Meaning, when it comes to delivering passes in rhythm, in the pocket, on time, Caleb Williams isn't capable of doing that. He can on occasion, not to the degree you would like to. When it comes to breaking the pocket and the incredible, he does things Jared Goff would give up an arm to do, because Jared Goff has never been that guy. And the whole book on Jared Goff is, if you make a move, that's when you have opportunity. And if he has the ability to be more like Goff, deliver in rhythm, because, I mean, Ben Johnson going to Chicago was a thing we heard rumored, and I kept saying I do not want that to happen, because I think that makes the Bears, even with less talent than the Packers, I think that makes them sort of a problem every single week, because he is so singularly good at designing and running offenses. He just needs the quarterback to do the things he needs him to do on a week-to-week and more consistent basis.
We're going to check in with John Jurkovic coming up at about 7:30, a little deeper dive into the playoff picture here around the league as well coming up. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday from Potawatomi Sportsbook.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
This is Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, letting you know that Siding Unlimited installs Pella windows and doors. That's right, Siding Unlimited installs windows, and we do it really well, earning the prestigious Pella Platinum Premier National Certified Contractor of the Year award 5 times. New windows, our expert team will deliver on a smooth, hassle-free installation, making you feel proud of calling Siding Unlimited for your window project. What's the next step? Call 262-567-4513 or go to sidingunlimited.com.
Welcome to Jackpot Land, this fall at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Play your favorite games with your Potawatomi Rewards card all fall to win your share of thousands in prizes each month and earn entries into the big December Jackpot Land prize drawings. Your October, November, and December entries all count. Win thousands in cash or reward play. Welcome to Jackpot Land, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
The holidays are here, and I don't know about you, but for our family, that means more time spent inside the house entertaining family and friends.
Hi, we're Mike and Michelle, owners of Professional Construction. You know what, Michelle? You're right. This year, forget those boring gifts. No more blenders, no more socks.
How about this year, you give yourself that brand new kitchen or the basement rec room so the kids have a space to call their own.
No matter the project, you can count on us.
Happy holidays from all of us at Professional Construction, Inc.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris talk to former NBA head coach Earl Watson. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
You know, I couldn't stop talking about it to my family and friends. My knees are my trouble spot. But for me to tell them now that I'm doing so much better, they were amazed, and I've been amazed.
QC Kinetics Cellular Therapies. Yes, it is amazing how these non-surgical treatments deliver joint pain relief for patients like Dr. Eric Williams, a successful chiropractor.
Each week, I just started noticing that I could sleep and not have pain. I could play pickleball. I could do a CrossFit exercise routine.
QC Kinetics revitalizes your joints so you can move again without the pain pills or invasive surgery.
You know, I'm 60 years old and I want to stay competitive as long as I can. And QC has allowed me to do that. They did me right and really made a difference in my life.
Book your free consultation with QC Kinetics today and experience the difference for yourself.
I like to go, move, move, move.
QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics 414-240-2298. That's 414-240-2298. 414-240-2298.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-511-5493. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-511-5493. That's 800-511-5493. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN. When the story isn't in Green Bay, you gotta go straight to the source. Each week, we check in with the people on the inside. This is Not My Beat.
So I don't consider this trolling, but so at our ESPN Wisconsin studios in Milwaukee, we've got a big TV wall. It is a massive TV wall. It must be 300 inches, Josh. And oftentimes it's divided into 4, where you could see things happening on our sister station, 620 WTMJ. I might catch the end of Wilde and Tausch or something like that. And not all the episodes are current. You might see a best of or a previous day's episode because it's part of our YouTube stream. But I've noticed over the last couple weeks, increasingly, Carmen and Yurko have been on our stream. And I don't know if this is sort of premeditated, if this is trolling, if this is just to kind of check in on the pulse of the Bears through the minds and mouths of those who are tied to the Chicago Bears a little tighter than we are in Carmen and Yurko. I'm not sure, but I've noticed the very handsome gentlemen, John Jurkovic and Carmen DeFalco, waxing poetic about the Bears and the Packers in analyzing this matchup here for Saturday night.
Yeah, what I think is happening is some of our guys were appearing on their station. Therefore, I believe Ben Brust had joined one of the shows, maybe two of the shows, Wilde and Tausch as well. I do think it is good to sort of see what the enemy's up to. Keep a tabs on them, have them around, keep a tab on exactly what they're doing. I do, every time I see them, get a little bit of like, ugh. You see like the Bears logos, you see the colors, and it makes you feel something that's, even though I like all of the people there, everyone's always been nothing but great, they're the rival. They're the guys you don't want to see, and you don't want to be beating your favorite team. I think it's a great time for this rivalry. The big takeaway for every Bears fan was, oh, this is a rivalry now, which is you took a loss, but hey, we were close, which I guess is new and something for them to celebrate. But it does seem to be a big difference.
Well, Chicago is back in the driver's seat in the NFC North. You get the feeling that Saturday night's game at Chicago Stadium, Soldier Field, is going to be for the division. I understand there's 3 weeks left here, but Saturday's game certainly points to that being a reality. Yurko joins us on the line right now. Hey, Yurko, I saw you earlier today. You didn't know it, but I was watching you.
Well, I certainly do appreciate that, and I don't know what kind of cross-station or interstate type promotion that everybody has going on, but they finally had some handsome people on the airwaves. I mean, that's a good thing.
For once.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
I think DeFalco was doing a bourbon segment. I'm not sure exactly. It was very confusing. It was hard to tell without the closed captioning.
Carmen's the expert when it comes to bourbon. He is exceptional in his ability to be able to find notes when it comes to bourbon. I just drink it and it's hot. But Carmen's the expert. By the way, guys, I find myself outside of another pub today.
Oh, good.
Talking to you fellas. Last week I was out on the south side of Chicago. Today I'm in St. John, Indiana at our bar, the letter R bar, enjoying myself here, watching the Monday Night Football game.
What, you cross state lines to do that? What are you in Indiana for?
Well, I live in Indiana, so I live in Cherville, Indiana. Huh. Yeah, I happened to be up at a samurai meeting when I was up on the south side of Chicago. I was at a samurai meeting, but I've lived in Northwest Indiana since 1998. We've got a small motto here: twice the house, half the taxes. So if you come to Indiana, 219, you don't pay the same taxes you do in Cook County. That's what everybody's crying about right now: property taxes in Illinois. So we come out here to Indiana, the 219, and we find ourselves a big house with very little taxes. Which, if you're smart, you come out here. If you're not
kind
smart,
of a similar
you go
story
to
in Wisconsin.
suburbs and pay triple.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar story here in Wisconsin. No wonder Wisconsinites and those from Indiana get along so well.
Absolutely. But listen, guys, they're 1-1 in their last two against the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears. Right? They won up in Green Bay last year. They lost in Green Bay, and now there's a chance at retribution. It was a close game, and you know what? The way the Bears have played the Packers over the course of a lifetime, a close game is something to kind of embrace every once in a while when you're building. And I think everybody would say that the Green Bay Packers were ahead of the Chicago Bears coming into this season. A lot of expectations for the Green Bay Packers. Not so much for the Chicago Bears, but the Bears, through however they found a way to do it, two games that they won 25-24 early in the season. They embarrassed Philadelphia out there in Philadelphia. They got embarrassed by Baltimore when they played Baltimore with a backup quarterback who wasn't Lamar Jackson. The trials and the tribulations of the season, there's an ebb and a flow that happens during the season, and you can't feel good about going out and playing my old college teammate Sean Payton. And what Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos did to the Green Bay Packers did not leave a good taste in your mouth. And then here you go again. You've got to get on the road. No Micah Parsons. I think Christian Watson's okay, and he's going to be available for the game. And Jordan Love, with the way he kind of dissected the Bears in that first game, 4 drives, 4 touchdowns, 4 of 9. Those guys were pretty damn productive. That's the one thing that the Bears are going to have to find a way to stop that. His ability with the long ball to go deep. They were running that 3-1 concept, and they were running these third dividers, kind of lulling the guys on the right side to sleep and crossing guys across the pattern and taking advantage of the Chicago Bears. They're going to have to find a way to stop that this time. But it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a game that's going to be decent weather, so nobody's going to be cold. Everybody's not going to be chilly. No wide receivers will have excuses for dropping balls. So it's going to be a fun game. And guess what? It is. If the Bears win, right, they go 11-4. If the Packers win, they go right back to being at the head of the division, and they're 2-0 against the Chicago Bears, and they knock the Bears down to 1-4 in their own division. So there's a lot at stake this Saturday night at Soldier Field, and I'm just hoping for a damn good competitive ball game. That's all I'm hoping for. I hope they knock the snot out of each other. I hope they bring a little pride back to the NFC North with some good, compelling football, which is really kind of all you can hope for. And I hope they don't knock the living crap out of each other and hurt each other before they end up getting to the playoffs.
Jurko, what have you thought of Ben Johnson's first season as the head coach? I've been impressed, as difficult as that is for me to say. I think he's been excellent and sort of delivered on everything. But you're closer to it. How have you sort of received the first season?
He had to change the culture of this football team. We had guys making business decisions last year, guys that wouldn't put their head into the pile, guys that were like just worrying about their own health. He had veteran guys on this team. We had more podcasts out of this football team than we had tackles and touchdowns. So they had to change the culture of the football team, change the expectations of the football team. The guy with the good hair had to be jettisoned, Matt Eberflus. They had to get rid of him. And they had to bring a guy in that knew what the hell he was doing. And you can see what he's done instantaneously to the offense. I mean, these guys are ranked in the top 10 in every major category you could find. He's had to take Caleb Williams and kind of deconstruct him and kind of build them back up. And I think he's been able to do it. I think they've got a trust with each other. And I think that's the biggest thing you have. It's a trust factor. Do the players trust the coaches, and do the coaches trust the players? Once you get that trust kind of established, then you're in a pretty good situation where you can start to move things forward. And I think that's what Ben Johnson's been able to do. It's the biggest key, the biggest thing. He is the number one reason, the number one factor this team is heading in the right direction. And then you give the credit to the players for executing game plans and kind of staying in the games, sticking to it, and never giving up and finding ways to win football games in the fourth quarter. So they did that early on. This game against Cleveland was a nice game. I'm telling you, I watched the game at the studios. I do the post game 2 hours afterward, for 2 hours afterwards. I fell asleep in the fourth quarter. It's finally a game that was so one-sided and so in favor of the Chicago Bears. I took a little cat nap in the fourth quarter before I went on. I mean, thank heavens, because they've all been nail-biters. They've all been stress-filled. So this is kind of nice to have a laugher. The Chicago Bears haven't had a lot of that, and the Chicago Bear fans down here have not had a lot of games where they can just relax and enjoy the football game.
Jurko, you've been around it as a defender in the NFL. You know what good defense really looks like here in the league. I know the Bears' turnover margin is pretty impressive, right? I mean, they intercept more passes than any team in the league. But is it a good defense, or is it reliant on turnovers?
Who's the Green Bay Packer guy that's their defensive backs coach? Al Wilson, what's his name?
Al Harris?
They got a former Packer that's their defensive backs coach.
Al Harris, right?
Isn't it Ainsley?
Oh, yeah, that's him, Al Harris. Yeah, that guy. He's been phenomenal for this football team. He's gotten these guys playing with a ton of confidence. Jalen Johnson and Tariq Stevenson were down. They were playing right, and they were playing CJGJ, the guy from New Orleans at Dennis Allen. They pulled off the scrap heap. He's a good football player, but he's got a little bit of a bad attitude, and that kept him out of the game of football. Bad attitudes will do that for you. And he gave him a second chance. He got back up here. Now, 35 was victimized by the Green Bay Packers on a number of different routes the last time they played. So he's got a little something to show. But Al Harris has done a wonderful job with the defensive back on this team, and he's got these guys playing with a ton of confidence. The pass rush isn't where we want it to be. We got 5 sacks last week. Trust me when I tell you, it was an absolute Christmas miracle because this team has not given you that all year. They had 24 sacks going into that game. They got 5. Now they're up to 29. But, the guy that they played, they got 21 and a half sacks. You know what I'm saying? Myles Garrett's got 21 and a half. The Bears got 29 as a team. So, so we can't really get to the quarterback. So the fact that the defensive backs have been able to do what they've been able to do, it doesn't – it's kind of counterintuitive, right? You think with more pressure you'd get more interceptions. But, hey, they're finding a way to get it done. They've been consistent all year in finding a way to get their hands on the football. So, all Bears fans can do is hope that trend continues.
We are sort of in mourning here after Micah Parsons was announced to have the torn ACL that we all thought of. What do you think if the Packers, and I don't want you to give away any of the state secrets, but what would you do if you had a defense that didn't have Micah Parsons anymore, and how would you stop the Bears' rushing offense, which I think is it the best in the league? It sure seems like it.
Yeah, next man up is the way you've got to work. I don't know who Micah Parsons' backup is, but you got to say, hey, listen, the least thing you can do is go ahead and solidify the run. You're not going to give us the same pass rush, but solidify the run. They play well as a defense. They play well as a team. They don't get gashed in the run. Nobody's running for a 78-yarder against the Green Bay Packers. So you force teams to have to execute against you. Last week, the Bears put a 14-play drive together. They went for a field goal. They missed the field goal. Well, if you can force them, and the Packers did a nice job of it in week one, they forced them to settle for field goals. When they could drive the ball down there, you settle for 3. When the Packers got down there, they scored 4 touchdowns, 4 of 9 in the possessions they had. The Bears were 4 of 9 also, but they kicked field goals. So if you're kicking field goals, you're only getting 3 points, you're not getting 7. So that's what they can do is, hey, if they're going to drive the ball, let's hold tight once they get inside the 20, force them to kick field goals. We believe our team's going to be able to score touchdowns.
Interior running for the Bears has impressed me a little bit. It showed up against Philadelphia. Packers did a little something against that. That was clearly a focal point here. But it also allowed Caleb Williams, Jurko, to get out of the pocket, extend plays. And tell me if you believe this is a fair or unfair criticism. I'm watching that game a couple of weeks ago thinking, my goodness, Caleb Williams has all of the ability in the world to make the very difficult look easy. And Caleb Williams, in the same breath, sometimes makes the air quote easy stuff look far more difficult than it should be. Like, is that a fair criticism of his play as a young player?
Sure, I think it can be. And remember, this is his first year with Ben Johnson, so he's come leaps and bounds in his first years with Ben Johnson. I'm telling you this, too. Don't look at the All-22 of this last game. Because if you watch the All-22 of this last game, you're going to get worried. You're going to get a little worried about what he did last week. I mean, the throw he made to DJ Moore in the end zone, when he gave him the back high five, threw it where only he could catch it, and he went up and got the ball and brought it down. That was as impressive of a throw as I've seen this year. And, different quarterbacks have made different great throws all year this year, but that one would go up there as like, hey, that was one hell of a touchdown throw for that guy.
So that wasn't luck. Because, Jurko, all I heard from Bears fans after Jordan Love did that to the Bears was, that's just luck, right? He just throws it up and a guy gets it, right? It's just luck. I don't believe any bit of that is luck. What Caleb did, what Jordan did, that's a remarkable play.
Listen, when these quarterbacks go and do things around the league, this is stuff they've been doing their whole lives. And they put it up there and they give the receiver a chance to go ahead and make a play, and they end up catching plays. Your guy Christian Watson against us with 2 touchdowns 2 weeks ago. I've been waiting for this kid to do whatever. He's had the hamstring issues forever. And then all of a sudden, wow, there he was against the Bears, making it happen. So, the quarterback puts the receivers in a position where hopefully they can make a play. Now it's incumbent upon them to go make plays.
Before we let you go, I guess we should ask you what you think happens. You think it ends in a season split for the Packers and Bears? You think the Bears win at home?
I think the Packers going on the road with Micah Parsons is going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough. If the Packers play efficient football the way they did, and they can put 28 points on the board, I think it's going to be tough for the Bears to be able to go ahead and chase them down. If they can force them to kick some field goals and they keep this thing under 24, 21-17, I think the Bears got themselves a chance. But I don't think they can win in a shootout against the Packers.
Looking forward to the game. Remember, Saturday night. Make your scheduling plans comply. Saturday Night Football in Chicago. John Jurkovic, check him out. It's with Carmen DeFalco and John Jurkovic every day here on ESPN 1000, our sister station in Chicago. Good stuff, Jurko. Always appreciate catching up. Thank you.
All right, guys. Stay warm.
You bet. John Jurkovic joining us from Indiana today. I did not know that. I did not know that Jurko lived in Indiana.
I did not. We've talked to him a few times before, and Jen gave him Chewy Scales and Bruss. Never knew Indiana. He just feels like such a Chicago guy when
he
you
really
talk
does.
to him.
You know, I totally agree.
Finding out he lived in, and I mean, he's still a Chicago guy. He comes by it very honestly. It just wasn't what I expected. He said Indiana. I thought, oh, maybe he's going to see what's going on with the football team. Indiana University. I don't know.
Wait, you Jurko on a reporting assignment?
Yes.
Yeah, you could see that happening, can't
the guy
you?
loves ball. Listening to him, you could tell that's a guy who loves watching ball.
At a bar, apparently. Carmen and Jurko, check it out, ESPN 1000. Another Bears week here, separated by only a matter of days, and the importance for this weekend's game, very similar to the importance of the game that was in Green Bay just a couple of weeks ago. Coming up on the other side, want to take a deeper dive into the playoff picture in the AFC and NFC. It is a muddy mess. Will a team with 10 or maybe even 11 wins be left on the outside of the playoff picture looking in? We'll take a look at it after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
It's the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, it's all happening at once. Hey, it's Mark Tauscher with ESPN Wisconsin, and there's one place where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks. It's the simplest way to play daily fantasy. Make your player picks in less than 60 seconds. Just choose more or less on at least 2 player stats. You get them right, you can cash in. And new this season, early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you might be able to cash out before the game even ends. And with stacks, you could pick the same player up to 3 times in one lineup. Like more on Giannis's rebounds, points, threes, assists. You can only do that on Prize Picks. Deposits are fast and easy with Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code WI to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WI to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Looking up at the Marquette banners, brought to you by Saganiac Planning. Dwayne Wade's number 3 retired in 2007, 4 years after he played. Number 24, retired George Thompson, said it before every Wade game. I wonder what he's going to do today. D-Wade, Micro-Wade, Tidal Wade, never disappointed, which is why Thompson said to him after Wade's triple-double against Kentucky took Marquette to the Final Four, Dwayne, you're the best to ever play at Marquette for what you've done and what you will do. Number 3 will never be worn again. For your little ones and your biggest joys, for your forever true and your fur kids too. For all the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Support your overall health so you can be your best for those who matter to you most. Call John Saganiac Jr., John Saganiac Jr., Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
Experience the excellence of Catholic Memorial High School for yourself. Come see how students gain a competitive edge at CMH. Visit CatholicMemorial.net to schedule a VIP tour or Student Shadow Day. Meet the inspiring teachers, welcoming students, and feel the energy of the CMH culture, where all students achieve more than they ever imagined possible. Visit CatholicMemorial.net to schedule your visit. That's CatholicMemorial.net. Catholic Memorial High School in Waukesha, where you rise.
The holidays are busy. Meals to make, gifts to wrap, parties to host. When it's finally time to unwind, make it blissful with Carbless. Crisp, refreshing, and full of flavor with every sip. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, only 100 calories, and gluten-free. While it may be frozen outside, it's always flawless with Carbless. No guessing and no compromise. So whether you're celebrating with friends, hosting the crew, or relaxing by the fire, bring bliss to your holiday gatherings. Carbless, full of flavor, guilt-free enjoyment.
Brighten up your home, workplace, or event with flowers and trust Welke's Milwaukee Florist to be your local florist. Welke's is family-owned and has delivered beauty for customers and businesses for well over 100 years. Join Welke's Flower subscription so your home is always fresh, or discover the benefits of creating a corporate account and leave the work to them. Welke's Milwaukee Florist has locations in Elm Grove and at 56th and North in Milwaukee. Go to Welkes.com, that's WELKES.com for more info and to place an order.
This winter, upgrade your home and your savings with Exterior Pros and Baths. New windows, roofing, siding, or a stunning bath makeover. Get it done now and get $3,000 off your project. That's right, $3,000 back in your pocket during our biggest year-end blowout. Call 262-800-4274 or head to extpros.com. Don't wait. These holiday savings melt away fast. Exterior Pros and Baths. Your home upgraded for the holidays.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Well, man, I got a lot of confidence in our team and the guys in that locker room. Like I mentioned, it's a tough loss, but it's a good learning opportunity for us. It's a playoff caliber game right there against a really good team. So we'll be able to bounce back, and it just comes down to making the plays. And I think they made more plays than us tonight. And like I said, give them credit. But I got plenty of confidence in the guys in that locker room that we'll be able to bounce back from this.
Opportunity will be on Saturday night in Chicago against the Bears. So it's Chicago, Baltimore, Minnesota for the Packers over the final 3 weeks of the season. We'll look at the Bears schedule. We'll look at the Lions schedule coming up here in a few minutes. It noted yesterday after the Packers lost and it dropped into the number 7 position here, Josh. I was watching the other games with interest, and my daughters are kind of getting into watching NFL football because I have it on so often, right? Yep. They get the helmets out, the plastic helmets, whoever the Packers are playing. That's on the mantle right underneath the TV.
It's nice it's gone that way at your house. My time football comes on and people go, ugh. This?
No, my daughters are 9 and one's about to turn 11, and they love it. And we hang out, we watch the games, I kind of explain things to them. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And how the point system works, and they're into it. So we were talking yesterday, and my daughter Kendall, the youngest, Minnesota and Dallas are about to kick off. And she goes, ooh, Dad. I was like, what? What do you want? What do you need? She's like, who do we want to win this game?
Wow.
That was a very, very interesting question from a 9-year-old daughter of mine. And I said, well, it's very interesting, Kendall. Good question. She's like, because you don't like either team, do you? I was like, no, I don't. I don't like either team at all.
And you don't either.
But I said it would benefit the Packers here if the Minnesota Vikings won. Because Minnesota's been eliminated from playoff contention. They cannot catch the Packers. There's no way that they can get ahead of the Packers in the standings. And Dallas is just kind of hanging around. And they also tied earlier in the year, and I'm not smart enough to figure out how that tiebreaker system works. If you've tied a team you've played, I don't want to go there right now. So we were actively cheering for the Minnesota Vikings, and I had to explain again, I typically don't cheer for that team in purple, but on occasion, you must take that hat off and put on the hat that says, I am a Purple People Eater fan tonight, because if they do well, it actually helps the Green Bay Packers. So Carolina losing, Minnesota winning, right? Dallas falling apart like they did, everything, if the Packers were going to lose, everything broke the Packers' way to make that loss less damaging.
Yes.
Right? The Detroit losing as well.
Yeah, interestingly enough, prior to the game, we were rooting for the Detroit Lions to win because that would have given the Packers the opportunity
the Rams, right?
to take the 1 seed. And then you saw the results and you go, phew, glad the Lions actually ended up losing that game. It worked out the best for us. The Packers are in a really good spot. Things have gone their way. It's weird how a tie feels so gross in the moment, but then when you start doing the standings, you go,
kind of feels like a win sometimes.
Actually, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That breaks in our way when you start doing how you break down winning percentages and losses and how they matter. That stuff all starts to get. I mean, I was looking at how far it takes just out of interest to get to the coin flip scenario where we go through all the tiebreakers. I believe it's 11 of them before you get to the coin flip. And we start talking then just about points scored. It's fantasy football.
It's quite an elaborate system the NFL has come up with. There's only one sports book that you can call the best in the Midwest. It really is where we are right now. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Every game this season is on, multiple games. They open early, too. And that World Cup is coming before too long. All the matches right here. The rest of the season here in football, college football playoffs, you name it, it'll be on here at Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet above the rest. We will take a deeper dive into that playoff picture and wrap things up from Potawatomi Sportsbook after this.
Back with more on the green and gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Greg Matzek, Gary Ellerson, the day after reaction show you need in your life.
Who benefits the most from Micah Parsons being on the field?
Secondary. Keyshawn Nix.
It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Mondays with Greg and Gary.
If you're a quarterback, you've got to get the football out of your hands before you really want to do it. I mean, everybody's getting their wealth with this, but to me, I think it's really the guys in the secondary.
Live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios from 6 to 8 p.m. every Monday on 94.5 ESPN.
Is your business ready to take the next step? At Fifth Third Commercial Bank Wisconsin, our team of local experienced advisors is here to propel you forward. We understand your needs and offer in-depth expertise, cutting-edge technology, and tailored solutions to streamline your cash collections, automate payments, and safeguard your assets with top-notch fraud mitigation tools. Contact Fifth Third in downtown Milwaukee today. Let's eliminate the non-value add work so you can focus on what truly matters, growing your business. Fifth Third Bank National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Tsunami Express Car Wash is now open in West Dallas at 10928 West Oklahoma Avenue, and they're celebrating big. From December 10th through the 21st, roll in for a free T2 wash with graphene, a $25 value, totally free. And keep that shine going with the Unlimited Club. Just $5 for your first month, and 100% of those proceeds support Special Spaces Wisconsin. New wash, new location, and a chance to do some good this holiday season. Tsunami Express West Dallas, now open. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat.
The holidays are here, and I don't know about you, but for our family, that means more time spent inside the house entertaining family and friends.
Hi, we're Mike and Michelle, owners of Professional Construction. You know what, Michelle? You're right. This year, forget those boring gifts. No more blenders, no more socks.
How about this year, you give yourself that brand new kitchen or the basement rec room so the kids have a space to call their own.
No matter the project, you can count on us.
Happy holidays from all of us at Professional Construction, Inc.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Pain has a way of stealing the moments that matter most, especially during the holidays. It's not just your knees, your back, or your shoulders. It's time with family and friends. But in 2026, that all could change when your body remembers how to heal. It just needs a little help finding the way back. Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team at QC Kinetics here in Milwaukee believe relief doesn't just come from surgery or pain pills. They use your body's own natural healing abilities to repair and restore what's been lost. It's your body's comeback story, powered by the very cells that built you in the first place. No surgery, no pain pills, no long recovery, just your body remembering how to feel alive again. QC Kinetics delivers that long-term relief that you're finally looking for. Make the new year your turning point where pain stops defining you. It's time to take that first step. Literally, time to walk, enjoy the holidays, live without pain, and live without hesitation. With QC Kinetics, healing is within reach. Schedule your free consultation today at QC Kinetics. Give them a call at 414-240-2298. That's 414-240-2298. 414-240-2298.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the environment and people's health. Until justice stands for all, our lawyers will never rest. More at earthjustice.org/neverrest. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Oh, we are out of time of the program here. Want to wrap things up. Just looking quickly at the Bears' schedule the rest of the way, Josh. It's Packers at Niners and then home against the Lions to round out the regular season. And you're thinking about where teams might be in the standings. Everybody's going to have something to play for here on the Bears' schedule the rest of the way. And maybe not as much the case with the Packers' schedule, although the Ravens are in a division hunt here for with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, of course, Packers close out with the Vikings. Game on Saturday night from Chicago. Amber and Ian next. Josh and Greg out from Potawatomi Sportsbook.
As the year winds down, we all pause to take stock of where we've been and